there are some cons of working remotely, which we are going to dive into. The truths, which is the main focus of this video, that people won't tell you or you should know about getting into remote work. So one, remote work can be very isolating. So it brings about isolation. Working independently can isolate you or dampen down your social skills. That is if you are not already like an outgoing person or a social person or don't have like a sanguine personality. So remote work can isolate you and make you lack team bonding skills. Which brings me to my next point, communication issues. You can have communication issues. Sometimes you can leave useful gaps of information that could benefit you or a third party. And sometimes it's also very hard to read body language online. And the next thing I'll talk about also is, even though remote work offers good work-life balance, it can often also go or against you in terms of work-life boundaries. Sometimes when your office is or your home is your office, you can tend to overwork all the time and spend more time working than actually have some resting time for yourself. And the other thing is, remote work also pays like some other traditional roles. It depends on your salary that you negotiated. So there are remote work has been paid like traditional roles, but sometimes currencies, if you are in a country with a lower currency and you are being paid in a higher currency, it helps boost your income. So there are traditional roles that are being paid exactly as remote workers. So, and the next point I would like to talk about is technology dependence. So remote work is heavily dependent on technology or internet. Sometimes if your internet service is out, you might feel burdened and your work might stop. And you might feel isolated as well. And also might have some issues dealing with that pressure. But it's always good to have a backup plan and overcome that con. These cons can be curbed based on how you set up your remote work culture. So it's essential that you know of this truth and then find a way to curb this. We'll have experts come and talk to us on how to deal with these issues. But there are a lot of benefits to working remotely, which I'm all for, and you should know too. One is the flexibility. If you have the flexibility to perform different roles based on the contracts you have, or as an employee, how efficient you are. If you're able to do your work on time, you get to do other things you love or other several related roles that you also enjoy doing based on some minimum amount of hours in a week. Also, it saves you a lot on cost. So the cost of maybe having to drive or pay for a public transit all the time, you get to save all that money to yourself. And remote work also offers you the ability or opportunity for a good work-life balance. There are people who like to travel and work. There are also people who, based on their contracts on a project, once they are done, they get to travel a lot or take out some break or weekend or summer vacations. And there are other benefits also, like productivity boost. Based on how you structure your remote work culture, you can reap from it, or it can also be a distraction to you. If you have a very bad setup or bad remote work culture at home, they can have very bad distractions at home. or if you have a good remote work culture or setup or environment, it can boost your productivity as well, which I'm all for and which you should know too. So these are some truths about working remotely, and I'll get to see you on the next one.